Welcome back. I'm prepared to be bedazzled because today I'm going to be shedding light on my story pertaining to working my first minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry at a gross wage of $6.55 per hour at age 16 and at hazardous employee working conditions in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression. So how was this aforementioned work experience, you may ask? Without further ado, without further delay, without further procrastination, allow me to demystify that answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Lamentably, much my dismay, much my consternation, much my chagrin, much my grief, much my agony, much my agitation, much my irritation. Working my first minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry at a gross wage of $16.55 per hour at age 16 that had hazardous employee working conditions in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression was an egregiously abysmal experience, and all facets was it devoid of redeeming qualities. I would deem this aforementioned minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry to be a dead end, highly time depleting, debilitating, dispiriting, unfulfilling, undesirable, harrowing, distressful, really wretched, ineffably agonizing job in all aspects. When I worked my first minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry, I was quite hired in to fulfill 2 to 3 employee jobs. Before we dabble into the nitty-gritty, I just wanted to preface this video by stating that prior to the advent of me working my first minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry, I earned 2,100,000 to 2,300,000 video views on my YouTube channel. However, it was not enough to qualify me to get monetized at age 16, and this is perhaps attributable to producing raw gameplay videos. In hindsight, I should have forgone producing raw gameplay videos and instead have produced gameplay videos that feature my live commentary. My parent wanted me to work this minimum wage employee job. I was recalcitrant about doing so. I was reticent about doing so since there's not any semblance of merit in doing so. When you earn a gross wage of $6.55 per hour by working a minimum wage employee job, it doesn't furnish you with enough emolument to even be able to temporarily afford to attain an extremely low standard of living in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression. Receiving a gross wage of $6.55 per hour by working employee shifts will furnish you with a negligible amount of purchasing power. Receiving a gross wage of $6.55 per hour by working employee shifts does not furnish you with enough fiat currency to be able to afford to attain your basic needs, such as the basic need of housing and the basic need of transportation. Furthermore, working this aforementioned minimum wage employee job provides a person with a 0% chance to attain financial stability and financial security if it is his only revenue stream. Sustaining working this aforementioned minimum wage employee job is extraordinarily cumbersome due to it having hazardous employee working conditions and requiring strenuous manual labor to sustain working. So, my first minimum wage employee job that I worked was the employee job of a busser. Not only would I haul heavy trays of dishes from the dining room and the outside dining area to the kitchen, but I would also take the beverage orders, prepare the beverages, and subsequently dole out the beverages to the customers during my employee shifts at the restaurateur's distant job site. So, the bussers should not be quiet hired in to fulfill the role of a server. At that restaurant, the servers would jot down the food orders and subsequently bring out the entrees and appetizers to the customers. The bussers would be tasked with jotting down the beverage orders, preparing the beverages, and doling out the beverages to the customers. The responsibilities of the server should not be outsourced to the bussers. I was quite hired in to fulfill 2 to 3 jobs. While I was working my first minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry at a gross wage of $6.55 per hour at age 16, that had hazardous employee working conditions in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression. The restaurateur could have onboarded more bussers to help the restaurant to maintain its operations. He could have doubled the quantity of bussers, however he chose not to. Unfortunately, this job did not provide a pension nor any benefits, and the customers would seldom tip the bussers. I would have preferred if this restaurant did not have outdoor dining, since it was hazardous. Going to the outdoor dining area due to smoke pervading the outdoor dining area. It permeated throughout the air. The smoke stings your eyes and stings your throat, and it's lethal to inhale. A person's life expectancy could potentially be truncated by 14 to 15 years if he is profusely exposed to smoke. Exposure to smoke is eminently perilous. You should never smoke, and you should never be exposed to smoke. So, there are ramifications appertaining to working this minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry that extend beyond the ambit of having an uninterrupted circadian rhythm. In order for me to work these shifts, I would acquiesce to waking up early, and I would be forgoing sleep to work these employee shifts. The incessant heavy lifting during employee shifts at the employer's job site, coupled with the hazardous employee working conditions at the employer's job site, in conjunction with the infinitesimal gross wage it offered, render the employee job an ineffably dreadful employee job to work. I would prefer if my sleep sessions were prolonged and not truncated. I would prefer if employee jobs always had safe working conditions. I would prefer if employee jobs at least offered a subsistence wage. So when you conduct a cost-benefit analysis, you can ascertain in advance that working this aforementioned minimum wage employee job is unequivocally inactive, imprudence, and improvidence. Sustaining working this aforementioned employee job comes at the cost of expending a substantial amount of energy. The repercussions of working this aforementioned minimum wage employee job is that it's going to adversely impinge on your overall health. We're not designed to be exposed to secondhand smoke. We never want to ingest carcinogens, nor neurotoxins, nor endocrine disruptors. Secondhand smoke was permeated throughout the air at the outdoor dining area of the restaurant. So, once again to recapitulate, my experience working my first minimum wage employee job in the restaurant industry at a gross wage of $6.55 per hour at age 16, that had hazardous employee working conditions in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression, was an ineffably, egregiously abysmal experience and no facets. I would have preferred if it could at least have paid a livable wage. I would have preferred if it had safe employee working conditions. I would have preferred if it did not have early morning shifts. I would have preferred if I was not quiet hired in by the restaurateur to work 2 to 3 employee jobs. I would have preferred if it offered a pension. I would have preferred if it offered benefits. I also would have preferred if the nature of the job was ameliorated No facets. I hope that you deem this video to be riveting, captivating, mesmerizing, insightful, informative, intriguing, and engrossing. I hope that you're entrenched in the underlying epicness. Work in worthwhile entrepreneurial capacities. You do not want your earnings potential to be tethered to your finite, precious, invaluable, nor indispensable time. Your time is sacrosanct. Do not needlessly squander your time by working minimum wage employee jobs that cap your earnings potential. You want your earnings potential to be uncapped and unfettered. Thanks for watching. Have a blissful day.